items. The chair recognizes Mr. Sorensen of Illinois for 5 minutes.
Thank you all for being here. I have spent the majority of my career in STEM as a broadcast meteorologist in northern and western Illinois. Much of what I accomplished in my career, researching and presenting weather and climate data, was only because of the collaboration between the DOE, the USDA, NOAA, NASA, and NSF. And so today I'd like to focus on this working relationship that we have, how Congress can best facilitate and shepherd more collaboration in the future. And my first question, I'm asking this on behalf of our farm families in northern and western Illinois who ask me, what's next after ethanol as we buy more electric vehicles? Last year, the DOE, along with other federal agencies, developed the Sustainable Aviation Fuel Grand Challenge Roadmap. This is a strategy for scaling up advanced technologies to produce sustainable aviation fuels. And I believe that our farmers are going to be heroes in this endeavor. What is the status of the implementation of the roadmap? What are some of the barriers that exist, and how can we make sure that the progress continues to accelerate? And if I could ask this question to Dr. Kung and Mr. Reuter.
Thank you very much for that question. We're actually very proud of the work the department is leading in the sustainable aviation fuel. It really capitalizes on decades of investment across the whole department, from Office of Science to the energy efficiency, renewable energy, which is leading the Sustainable Aviation Fuel Grand Challenge. So I think building on this decades-long of really science foundation, they're able to really upgrading the biofuels in order to add functionality, efficiency, and also performance into the sustainable aviation fuel. I'm not personally involved in the roadmap, but I'll be very happy to get back with you based on my colleagues' input.
And what I would say is we do support, NASA does support the biofuel area and stuff and the production of those, and we certainly see a lot of opportunities there. We're mainly in a support role to others like DOE as we go through that. The other thing, though, that is core to us also is zero net carbon emissions for airplanes and electrification of the power propulsion system and batteries and stuff. And there we do play a very active role, and we have a lot of activities going on to a demonstrator vehicle.
Thank you so much. Dr. Morgan, there have been proposals to separate NOAA from the Commerce Department. Could you tell me some of the drawbacks or some of the benefits should NOAA become an independent agency, and whether or not you support this move, and whether or not this meteorologist now in Congress should do the same?
Thank you for your question. There's a lot to unpack in that in terms of the separation of NOAA from the Department of Commerce. I mean, as has been mentioned earlier in my earlier testimony, the work that NOAA does inform how the conduct of commerce is actually done in the United States, in fact, and frankly globally, in terms of our ability to produce highly accurate forecasts that allow for ship routing, for transportation, et cetera, to be done effectively. I think one of the big questions that has to be asked in any possible change to NOAA's authorization really has to focus on what are we as an agency fundamentally authorized to do, what are the capabilities that we would have when that actually is, if that were realized. I think where we sit certainly is important, but I'll be frank, I don't have a direct answer to your question on what that looks like, but I think the key thing is ensuring that NOAA has the authorities it has to conduct its current mission and perhaps future missions that are going to benefit the American public in terms of science, stewardship, and service, particularly as it relates to the Earth system. That's going to be really critical.
And my final question, as a meteorologist who spent his life on television, my constituents know that when a big snowstorm is coming, that Eric Sorensen looks at the European computer model. That's the accurate one, right? It should be the global forecast model. It should be our model. How can I, as a meteorologist in Congress, how can we work together to increase the accuracy so that our lives can be protected and people can make the right decisions during severe weather?
Sir, I'm a weather enthusiast. I often use the term weather weenie.
I love it.
Guess that's never been said in the halls of Congress. But I think what's really necessary is ensuring we have the high-performance computing. It's also essential that we make significant investments in atmospheric and basically coupled data assimilation for the system to make the full use of the observations that we have. And we have, again, the computing to allow us to look at an ensemble of forecasts. I look at the GFS, the last couple of weather systems that have gone through the
Thank you.
United
The
States,
gentleman's time
GFS
has expired. I'm sorry. The gentleman's time
great.
has expired.
I yield back.